Welcome all to our one-day debate. Today, if you're hesitant, if you're in doubt about action that you're going to take, go for it. This is a time to practice public speaking, practice negotiation, practice using the rules in different ways, practice interpreting your policy, practice. Okay? So instead of allowing that doubt to paralyze you into inaction, rather allow that doubt to propel you into taking some risks. Okay? That being said, the most important thing of these debates, of course, is to have fun. For that purpose, you're all assembled here in these nice suits on a Saturday morning, and we have all of these wonderful people that we're going to introduce in just a brief moment that will allow you to pursue this debate.
Okay, so all those in favor of opening debate, please raise your placards now. All those opposed, motion passes. We are going to enter a policy round in which each delegation is going to have 1 minute to speak.
France does not grant diplomatic recognition to North Korea and will consider granting recognition after 3 main goals have been achieved. 1. The abandonment of North Korea's nuclear weapons program. 2. The improvement of North Korea's human rights record. And 3. The improvement of inter-Korean relationships. France hopes that all of these goals can be achieved through resolution.
We understand that China provides 70% of North Korea's total trade, and we look to use this to our advantage as we work to resume the six-party talks and ultimately end the North Korean nuclear program.
Nuclear weapons should be abolished, and unfortunately, the only way to do this is by creating sanctions.
It is also imperative that we have China to support it because, as they said, all the immigrants are going through their country, but they are not trying to go to China. They are moving through China to go to places like Yemen and Cambodia.
The United States is aware of the fragile situation in the DPRK and believes that the UNSC needs to keep the people of the DPRK in consideration. We need to denuclearize North Korea, but must try to harm their people as little as possible.
During the Yom Kippur War, which was a war between Arab states and Israel, North Korea provided the use of their pilots and soldiers. And now we feel like we owe North Korea.
The Republic of Malaysia believes that North Korea should be disarmed but not be punished economically.
In order to provide a fair and prosperous culture for the North Koreans, we have to increase trade, not decrease it, and we need to give them more culture and more economy in order to create a fair and prosperous North Korea.
With the exception of Venezuela, I think we can all agree that denuclearization is the best option for North Korea at this time.
Delegates, just going forward, be careful about using I. So when you're talking about your country, use the pronoun we.
Before, North Korea has agreed to stop their nuclear weapons program, but keep their nuclear energy program, and has agreed to inspections by the IAEA. France believes that this would be a good starting point for a resolution.
We don't agree that we should enrich their culture because we believe that that's like we're encouraging them to keep making these nuclear weapons and keep like hurting their people.
Kim Jong-un, as we mentioned before, has lots of threats from so many people around the world. And the nuclear weapons are just preventing them from attacking.
They said that we want to increase sanctions. We don't want to increase them, we just want to enforce them in a more efficient way.
Increasing sanctions that are more powerful will benefit every country and to demilitarize North Korea's nuclear weapons.
Their weapons are not being tested and being made because they are scared of all the threats. It is going to become a war if we don't stop them now and try to negotiate in the best way possible.
They're uncoordinated. July 8th, 2016. The president and Riek Machar wanted to have some kind of peace agreement. What happened then, terrorists attacked the state building, and turns out they were Riek Machar's soldiers. They were attacking their own leader. It's not coordinated.
But an arms embargo won't help anything. There are hundreds of helicopters, guns, and rockets already in the country. And if we cut off arms trade, it won't change that.
We need to help South Sudan resolve this conflict within itself and not cut off arms trade where they can't do anything.
If the transitional government refuses to cooperate with our
with our ideas and our efforts to give humanitarian aid and send peacekeeping troops, then an arms embargo might be necessary to be the most effective.
Also, a reminder that you cannot deploy your own troops. You are acting as one singular body as the United Nations Security Council. So, having your own troops be involved into South Sudan would be rule dilatory.
We'll next vote on the 6-minute moderated caucus, 45-second speaking time on ethnic violence. So all those in favor, please raise your placards. Delegates, please raise them high. Okay, all those opposed? This motion passes.
Russia believes that the best way to solve this problem is to create negotiations and capital rearrangements between the ethnic groups in South Sudan. Thank you.
And that through the use of peacekeepers, we can create a brighter future for South Sudan and instill peace and keep peace.
The core difference is ethnicity, and I think because the United States thinks because the bodies are formed by ethnicity, we need to create negotiation, although this might create rifts through the different ethnicities, because that's how they identify.
And we can't have this keep on happening, so they need to get together and find some sort of compromise and agreement so they can stop and have a peaceful country.
The neighboring countries will be hurt if refugees pour into them, and it is necessary that South Sudan protects their citizens and protects their refugees. Thank you.
Government of South Sudan does not have the means to currently care for its people. The government barely is in existence, and what government does exist is broke. It does not have enough money.
All those opposed? We're down to 7 minutes. Unlock delegates. You can use your technology, but please make sure you are staying on track and using your presentations.
This motion passes. So we are now in a 7-minute moderated caucus with a 30-second speaking time on the topic of alternatives to sanctions.
Because it's not the people's fault that their government is tyrannical. So we need to support the people, and we need to give them a trade option to get them to the bargaining table with us.
Sanctions are the only bargaining tool we have right now.
That is threatening North Korea, which pushes them to continuously develop their nuclear program.
We've tried 6-party talks. We've gone through rounds of negotiations and nothing has been passed. No, nothing has been solved. 6-party talks, it could be a possible solution to this issue, but we're going to have to change it in some way for this to work out.
As Fran stated, an arms embargo is at least something that we need to do, if not a full embargo, because an arms embargo isn't going to hurt the people in North Korea.
China can put pressure on since they're their probably biggest ally, they could very likely influence how they think and what they do.
And while we really hope that one day North Korea can become more stable and more open and more democratic, we do believe that at the time, negative reinforcement will be more effective.
9-minute moderated caucus with 45 seconds speaking time on negative reinforcement. All those in favor? All right, this motion passes.
North Korea has violated so many UN rules. They even have been suspended from the council. Therefore, we must not let them get away easily, and we must enforce hard sanctions that have worked in the past, such as Ukraine.
China is not willing to provoke North Korea in any way in terms of, in hopes of completing anything besides denuclearizing North Korea.
They have threatened so many different people. They've threatened the citizens of North Korea, and they've threatened citizens of other countries neighboring them, such as Russia, South Korea, Japan, and China, and so much more. North Korea should not get rewarded because of this. They're not open to agreeing to anything that we've come up with in the 6-party talks, and I don't think, because of this, I don't think we should be giving positive reinforcement.
North Korea has even stated that they would be ready and prepared for a nuclear war.
Maybe they feel threatened because the U.S. has moved into South Korea and is positioning up defenses.
One use for the peacekeepers is to protect refugee camps. That way we can prevent any robberies or other attacks against them. That's one way for protection. And number 2 is in the capital to contain violence there, so that we can come in and create a negotiation there so we can end the fighting. Thank you.
Russia believes that regional players that can impress on the two fighting factions that fighting is not a good way for their country to go is a great way for Russia.
Peacekeepers would hypothetically only be used as a temporary solution to encourage safe negotiations and provide a safe environment for both political leaders to negotiate and make peace.
All those in favor of the 10-minute, 30-second speaking time on the topic of the working paper, please raise your placards now. All those opposed? This motion passes.
Some of the smaller countries that are not in the P5 don't have as much of a say in the resolution. I think it would be better if some of the smaller countries came together and started making more resolutions so that we could all bring our better ideas together and make a really good resolution in the end.
And please pass a note to either I or Russia or France to add into the document. Everyone has to share their ideas so that it can be the most effective resolution.
Even though we're P5 members, we welcome all opinions.
As Russia has started a new working paper, this working paper would be open to the ideas of other countries and would include no sanctions.
I would like to ask the delegate from Russia whether or not there will be any form of mechanism to hold the people in charge of South Sudan accountable for their actions.
of North Korea, but refuses, absolutely refuses, to in any way impose additional sanctions on North Korea.
If we're going to take away the nuclear program, I think that's going to be really hard to tell North Korea. So I think one suggestion was if we could make some sort of exchange. For example, we're taking away your nuclear weapons, but we can give you something in return.
We need to give them a reason to come and talk to us, and that reason should be trade.
Maybe propose to have some UN officials be there supervising the trade that comes in and what happens with that money.
North Korea is already under the tightest sanctions ever established by the UN, so I don't understand what else can be possible. Thank you.
China is still publicly giving explosive materials to North Korea. They're giving them clothing, they're giving them machinery, they're giving them centrifuges, at least in 2014.
Fellow delegate from the U.S., we would be willing to stop selling them items that have nuclear warheads, but we will continue to give them. We will continue to trade with them economically, and also if we stop trading with them, we're one of the only countries that they actually trust, and without anybody to trust, they might become even worse.
The working paper that makes all of the countries in the world denuclearize is completely impractical. I don't think any of the P5 countries are willing to give up their nuclear weapons. The United States definitely is not.
You're not comfortable with letting go of your own nuclear weapons, then why are you telling North Korea to do the same?
If we take away the nuclear weapons, we're not only helping citizens of other countries, we're helping the citizens of North Korea. We're doing it to benefit them as well. The citizens of North Korea, they're in poverty and they're malnourished and they're scared of the nuclear weapons that's going around all year, all the time in their country, and they have no idea what's happening.
We just keep our nuclear weapons to defend ourselves, so it's a different case.
The reason why many P5 powers have nuclear weapons is because we act responsibly.
But may I remind you, the only nation ever in the world to use a nuclear weapon, actually 2 nuclear weapons, is the United States, a P5 country teaching they want to keep their nukes.
Okay, I understand Senegal wants us to, with this resolution, I guess, hold hands and sing Kumbaya, but that's not happening. Thank you.
We shouldn't pay the price
of what North Korea did. Thank you.
What will happen to the nuclear weapons and or nuclear waste that will come out of when you minimize the nuclear weapons of the countries down to 10?
There aren't many answers to some of the questions that we've been asking many times, and I feel like it's not detailed enough for it to be passed. Thank you.
If North Korea is uncooperative, the sanctions are placed back on, which means that we are right back where we started.
So if we are able to start building their economy during the time where fires and wars have started to come down, that they will be able to have a more successful country because their country won't be left in shambles by the time that the war is ending, and that they will have some sort of economical safety net to fall back on when the war is over.
But after the war, we think there should be criminal justice for rape criminals and criminals after violence has ended.
Ukraine, Senegal, New Zealand, and Uruguay and Russia have created a resolution that we hope will be fit right in with all of our interests. Or it doesn't regard embargoes or other controversial things like how to deal with humanitarian aid and oil.
We cannot avoid those topics as the United Nations Security Council. Those topics are extremely important and arguably the most important to the people of South Sudan, and simply skirting around those topics is a completely irresponsible move by any delegate of the United Nations Security Council.
It seems like your resolution is more concerned on how peacekeepers are used rather than to actually potentially solve some of the major issues that are in South Sudan.
And our resolution is not intended to deal with those issues. It's intended to deal with the issues of how to mandate peacekeepers so that they are more effective peacekeeping force in South Sudan.
If UN peacekeepers are in threat, will they be authorized to use force against child soldiers?
There is absolutely no circumstance in which we will fire weapons upon children, but that is up to further debate.
So delegates, just to intervene, I think you're getting caught up a little in the issue of child soldiers, and it's really detracting away from the rest of this resolution, which is really about peacekeepers, right? So you may want to ask questions like, are you going to increase the number of peacekeepers already in South Sudan, because there's already a considerable number, and will having more peacekeepers really do anything to help not have as much tension and fighting in the situation, or will it just cause and increase more tension? So those are some things you might want to be considering instead of like the nitty-gritty, what is a child soldier?
All right, we are moving into voting procedure on Resolution 1, sponsored by the United Kingdom, the United States, France, and China. All of those in favor, please raise your placards now. So we have unanimous agreement on this resolution. It passes.
Yes! Delegate from New Zealand.
If we lift all trade sanctions from North Korea, would you consider negotiating with us after 2 months?
Yes.
How would you respond to us if we think that you having your nuclear weapons are just as harmful and just as threatening to us as having the United States on your borders? Would you lessen or would you stop creating your weapons?
We are using weapons as a defense, as a shield. It's our only guarantee. The United States is the preponderance of military might in the entire world. So we're not the bad guys here. They are. They are the ones who are bullying us, who are putting us in a corner, who have quite literally created the need for us to develop this weapon. And the only way that we can guarantee our freedom from the U.S. invasion and imperialism is by having a handful of nuclear weapons. It is the responsibility of the United Nations Security Council to answer for all the people who suffer malnutrition in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. So it is your sanctions that has caused that, not us. We want to freely trade with the rest of the world. We have things to give, even though we want to be self-reliant.
Motion to move into voting procedure.
That is in order.
Wait, don't you want to get out of here with the...